We were all listening very carefully to your grammar, Carol.
Yikes.
And I don't think... No, I think you passed. I think you passed.
We'll tell you in a minute. Yes, here's good questions for you this morning. Do you know your split infinitives from your double negatives, and does it matter if you don't?
Catherine Fry and Rowena Curtin think so. They both work in publishing. They were so sick of correcting other people's mistakes, they decided to write a book dedicated to making us all make fewer mistakes.
Very good.
That's right, is it?
Yes.
Morning, both.
Yes, good morning. Well, you did have someone on earlier who said there were 10,000 less students applying to something or other, and I went, oh.
OK, so let's be real. So I've got a whole list from viewers of things that they'd like to get sorted out. Yeah. For our point of view, first of all, and viewers, less and fewer. Really simple rule, please.
Fewer is a specific number, less is more abstract. So less is more.
Give me an example.
But fewer people, because you can
fewer
count people.
Fewer people. So if you count something, it should be fewer.
Yeah. So if someone is in a queue in the 5 items or fewer, that would be correct, but not 5 items or less.
And it's often 5 items or less, isn't it?
Yes. And that's
but if my teacup is too full, I can say can I have a bit less?
Yes.
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 Because fewer wouldn't make any sense.
No, exactly.
A bit less abstract something or other. So that's fine.
Oh my goodness.
I make that mistake a
Are we
lot.
making
I
progress?
do make that mistake a lot. Have you got a favourite? Have you either of you got favourites? So that things that bother people.
Well, it's not a favourite. It's between you and I. Really
That's
bugs
yours.
me. Yes, that.
I am a fewer and less person.
Yeah.
So talk us through the between.
It's between you and me, because you wouldn't say between we, would you?
No.
You'd say between you and me. So. I mean, there was a trailer for some quite big BBC TV series a few months ago, and the trailer, which was plugged relentlessly on Radio 4 and Radio 5, and you think, and the actor was saying, it's between you and I, this is quite a big decision, and I'm going. This has been through a writer, a script editor, a director, the actor.
Do you let them get away with that for artistic licence or not?
Well, not for that particular programme, which I'm not going to name because it was inappropriate for that. But obviously, for artistic licence, some things it's fine.
Another one that people are very exercised about this morning was should have or should have, would have, would have.
Oh no. Well, I mean, should have.
Always.
It's never of. Never.
Okay.
Paul asks. He says, I was always taught to say different from and similar to. The trend is to say different to. So where are we with that one?
In traditional circumstances, it is different from, but different to is acceptable. But your pedantic people will say it should be different from. I think either is acceptable.
So this dress is different from this dress than to this dress.
In America, they say different than.
Now you mention America. Lots of people very upset about Americanisms. How do you feel about Americanisms?
It's fine in America.
So what kind of things would you call Americanism that perhaps you wouldn't recommend using then?
That's a good
Go get a coffee.
Yes, yeah.
So go and
people do say
get
that,
me a coffee, or well, actually you wouldn't.
Or I would like.
Yes, I would like.
I've heard a phrase that slipped in from America, I think, which is when people say, if you say you want to talk about an issue, they'll say, I would like to speak to that. Have you heard that phrase?
Yes.
That slipped in American politics quite a bit.
Yes.
Speak to an issue. Because that's wrong, isn't it?
Well, yes.
That can't be right.
No, it's not. It's not.
OK.
Can we do one more rule and then I'll ask you how you came up with all of this? Apostrophes. Too difficult to explain, or what do you...
It's basically a possessive or a contraction.
Yes.
So that's all it is?
Yes. I mean, there was a headline in one of the quality papers the other day which had Mark Duggan, comma, whose death sparked last year's riots.
Yes.
How would you spell whose?
Oh, I don't know.
WHO apostrophe SE.
No, I would have...
Who is?
Yeah, I would have WHO apostrophe
because
S. It was his death.
Well, no, it's whose death. So it's the possessive. So there's WHOSE.
It's like them back at
Because who...
That's right.
Yeah,
No,
who is would be...
This is why I'm not a script editor, isn't
because WHO apostrophe S would mean who is. So
Of course it does.
Yeah, so Mark Duggan, who is death?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it doesn't make sense.
Can I ask, now, one of the things you talk about in the book is about styles of writing, you know, the various styles. And you talk about rhetoric. Now, rhetoric is very interesting because in politics it's used, that word is used a lot. So we'll have a Labour minister will come on and say, there's been all this conservative rhetoric about the NHS. Now that, these days, is taken to mean nonsense, isn't it? Or just huff and puff.
Yes.
Or it's a derogatory
overblown.
term.
Yes, it is a derogatory term.
But the literal meaning of it is truth, isn't it?
Yes, and also a passion. You know, the rhetoric was produced and made sense. But nowadays, it's, you know, someone on their hobby
And
horse
that's to
having a
do
rant.
with the evolution of language.
And you mentioned
Meanings change over time. Sometimes.
You mentioned the Mark Duggan thing, which is obviously a very serious story, and you changed the meaning, don't you, by the way you write things,
Yes.
which is very important.
Absolutely.
Then if people
The
say,
reader
is it
doesn't know what you mean.
important? Then
Yes.
that makes it very important, doesn't
Yes.
I
it?
think that's our main point about the book, is clarity
Yeah.
and comprehension and understanding and making yourself understood.
Clear communication.
Clear
And
communication.
can you both, hand on heart, say that if you tweet or you send messages or whatever, you always write things correctly?
Yes.
Do you really? Everything is written out in full?
I don't really tweet, but my text messages
Are all written
Yes,
out
with
in
all
full?
the
That's not,
apostrophes.
that's not quite true, actually. I had a text from Rowena once where
Oh, go on.
she put something like, "Will be late. I'll have to leave yours early because I have." And she'd written everything in text speak apart from "because I have to leave for a parents' evening." And she'd made text, parents spelt out with the apostrophe in the correct place. Just
So
to
you're all
prove you-
guilty, aren't you?
Since she said that, though.
But why, for people watching today, why are you right? Is it because you've looked at the history of all of this, or what? You know, what language does change, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, language change, and I think
And
we
that's
should.
a good thing.
Absolutely, we should take on board new developments like
And new words.
New words. We're very keen on portmanteau words, which two words combining together like
To make a new word.
chillax and romance and
You like
rom-com.
those?
I do.
Well, see, I find those really irritating.
Oh, I like rom-coms and emoticon.
Paul
like that.
Simon is very upset by the phrase "I got off of." I got off of my bicycle.
Which is actually fine in American.
Yes.
Is it?
Got off of is fine in American, but
But not here.
here.
And quickly, just tell us about myself. When should it be used?
Well,
People-
you said it to yourself.
Yes.
When should it be used? That kind of thing. When, for emphasis and for when it is a reflexive pronoun.
We will all think a little more carefully. Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you.
never going to be able to write or speak again.
Catherine and Rowena's book, Grammar for Grown-Ups, is out today.
Now.